Thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. I am Michelle Kane, and my company is Voice Matters, and I am here as ever with my wonderful co-host, Karen Swim. She is the head honcho over at Solo PR Pro, the tribe that brings us all together. And and today we're going to talk about outsourcing PR. Is it dead? I don't know, Karen. We're here and we're working.
We're not only working, we're working pretty hard. So
I know, right? Oh.
I would say, no, don't fill out that tombstone just yet.
I mean, we see it from time to time. It's the article. I don't know, maybe whoever's writing it has a deadline. I get it. Sometimes you just say, fine, I'm just going to be the contrarian. But yeah, no, especially, in the snow globe world that we live in, of having been shaken up and things are settling in, and it seems as though outsourcing is going strong, to be honest. I don't know, we were looking. Go ahead. Sorry.
You have some statistics around that, right?
I was just going to say, we were looking at the, there's a PR Newswire article. It's fairly recent. It's from March that states that 8 out of 10 of small businesses plan to outsource this year. They know that we save them time, we save them money, and we are the experts, which I know makes me feel squicky to say, but yeah, we are the experts, actually. Own your knowledge. So that was really reassuring to read. I don't know how business is going for our listeners out there. If you feel things are waking up, I know we certainly have felt that some of the clients that were slumbering just to get through COVID times are starting to wake up, and the inbox is popping.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's good to talk about these topics so that we can arm our audience, because I believe that this school of thought comes from people seeing companies take PR in-house. So, a new CMO comes in, or a new PR VP or director, and then they want to have their own team and they want to handle a lot of the pitching. And sometimes they may want to outsource as a project versus having an ongoing PR help.
Right.
However, here are some things that really can equip you to source the right clients, and also to talk about this intelligently with clients about what your value is in addition to your, knowledge and expertise. So I have a client, MBO Partners, and they do this client of choice study every year. And you're welcome to go to mbopartners.com and look for that study. One of the things that they are measuring, and one of the things that they actually advocate for, is, as we have seen this pandemic, so the pandemic forced everybody to work remotely for a period of time. And then, state laws and regulations prohibited people from going back to the office. Like here in Michigan, my OSHA said, work from home if you are reasonably able to do so. Right. And so for years, we've been seeing this shift slowly happen away from a manufacturing economy, which was very much, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. And our whole work model system was built on a manufacturing economy. But as we shifted over into different types of work, that didn't necessarily work. So we've seen small incremental changes. Part of that small incremental change is people like us who are able to come in and to deliver outcomes versus outputs, and not need the ramp up, not need some of the things that you give to your employees. So with everyone out of the office, it really showed organizations the bold new future quickly. And what was surprising to them is that it worked.
Yeah.
Productivity
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. A PwC survey that I just looked at showed that employees not only thrived in a remote work environment, they felt like their careers didn't stall at all. In fact, they moved forward. And over half of them, I want to say 58%, made health their priority. If you got people that are healthier, that means they're happier. People who felt like they had more of a balance. And so when you think about taking away commuting and taking away some of the things that suck hours out of your day. So if you're commuting to work
Mhm.
2, 3 hours a day, you just got those 3 hours back. That's a lot.
It is.
So once employers saw, like, wow, everybody left the office and we not only did well, in some cases, we did better. So now you see companies, like GM, which is a very traditional organization, announce that remote work is now permanent. And they're allowing people to choose whether they want to do a hybrid work model where they come in a couple of days a week or whether they are fully remote. Ford Motor Company, same thing. These are,
Mhm.
companies in the Michigan area. There are other big companies that have, also announced this change, as well as a number of smaller companies. So when you've got people working remotely, you start to really think about how to optimize your productivity. How can we lean into this new trend? So as people leave jobs, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to automatically replace that position. This is where you can now effectively hire expertise for work that
Right.
needs to be done. So now it
Right.
becomes more than just the job description and outputs. And, I honestly think that most job descriptions are trash. They're just garbage. People put a whole bunch of crap on a piece of paper, and it's not even what people do in their job,
No. Okay,
honestly.
so right. I mean, how often in our experience when we would interview for jobs or you get there and you realize and this is not to fault the people placing the ads all the
Yeah.
time, but sometimes it's like you don't really even know what you want yet
Yeah. They just throw
until
it
you
all
talk
on a
it out.
piece of paper until it looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I once
And
yeah, I once
try
had
to
a
measure you over it.
conversation. Yeah, I once had a conversation where, it looked like it was an outward facing position and then you get there and they're like, "So this is an internal position?" I'm like, "So, okay." So then I just totally gave her an incorrect answer based on what you put out there and thanks.
Yeah. But I think those are things that are arsenal for PR pros. So as you're doing your marketing, you can focus on that. You know that you are someone, you and your team, if you work with other subcontractors or you have a team, you can share how you're able to help optimize productivity for a company so they can stay
Right,
focused on their core competencies and
exactly.
utilize your skills and expertise. You don't need a ramp up. You're able to focus on outcomes. You're able to integrate with teams to align so that you guys are all working against the same objectives. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot of benefit to, bringing in a team of people to get something done.
Right,
Um, and it really
right.
does. It helps your bottom line and you don't have to have all those people. And again, I feel like we're in an even stronger position because people now
Yes,
are starting to understand you don't have to see people to work with them. It
that's
can
so
be
true.
somewhere else. It can be anywhere in the world. And we've got
Yes.
all this wonderful communication technology that we can take advantage of in the proper way, to be able to track, to be able to communicate, and even to collaborate. So
Yeah.
I honestly feel like, in addition to being, good at communications, we're also in a position to lead the future of work. I mean, we are
Yeah.
the OG, work from home experts. We were
We
doing
sure
it
are.
long before it was a thing. We know how to get it done. We know how to get stuff done remotely. Digital nomad,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Corporate America did not create that term. We always knew what it meant to work from anywhere if we
Right,
wanted to.
right.
So utilize that, and don't give in to sort of the fear-based mania that sometimes, comes across like, oh, all the
Yeah.
outsourced PR jobs, they're not going to hire you anymore. And if they do hire, they're going to hire, only big agencies. Lies. Don't
No.
believe it.
Yeah. Not true. Not true. There is so much opportunity for us, and I think sometimes, speaking from personal experience as well, you can get caught in that cycle of thought and, because as we've said many times on this podcast, even if when we work with larger teams, it's still us at our laptop in our office and we can get stuck in that headspace of, oh no, you're right. Everyone's hiring inside. Is it time to go inside? And you know what? I have found time and time again that that is when I will get the next email for the next project, or the phone will
Yeah.
ring, and I will think, "Oh, okay." Because
Yeah.
we do, and, it gives us that opportunity to, stay primed on our profession. You know, we have the ability to, sharpen our own tools in the way that we see fit for those that will need us. And, there's a great freedom in that. There's so much freedom that comes with this. And,
Yeah.
myself included, I urge everyone to, take full advantage of that. I was watching a colleague's, Insta stories. It was her first day back in the office after a year. And, already she said, "Oh, the commute, it's such a waste of time to commute." And, I thought, how weird must that feel? And I thought, that was one of the nice things. Not that anything about this pandemic was nice, but that was one of the nice things of being a solo. It's like, "Oh, you're working from home now." I'm like, "Well, that hasn't changed. It's just I can't go anywhere."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can attest when I worked in Philly, it was all told, it was 90 minutes door to door. So that is, you're saying that's 3 hours of your day, that's 15 hours out of your week. Now, that's not to say I don't miss my train nap from time to time, because I had a delightful little power nap.
Yeah. I wouldn't go back.
Yeah,
I
that's
would
not
not go
a
back.
train nap's not enough to get me to go back.
Yeah. And I mean, I honestly I hope that, people in our solo audience take up the charge of really, be a voice for the solo community and how we work.
Mhm.
Advocate for us. Sometimes we have to be the ones to educate on the
Yeah.
value that we truly bring. And so here are some ways that you can do that. We have so many wonderful thought leaders in our community and great communicators. So if you're somebody that loves to write bylines, pitch some bylines to, trade publications in the industries with which you work. Reach the people who have the power to hire you. I know so often PR people stay within PR
Mhm.
to promote themselves, but you need to start promoting yourself and our profession, our, solo PR pro profession, to people who actually can write that check and hire us. Start to talk about, give advice, if you are involved in like your local chamber or,
Mhm.
business organizations or trade associations, if there's opportunities to speak, you can lead the way in sharing with them how they can optimize their workforce in the post-pandemic America. And we can be a key part of that. I truly believe that with everything in me.
Yes.
I believe that our profession is needed more than ever now. It would be foolish for people to try and navigate this landscape all on their own without our professional counsel. And so use that to your advantage. And just know that, yes, people are definitely hiring. They are hiring and they're hiring fast and furious, and it's happening across industries. And so if you're experiencing a little bit of a blip, or maybe it's taking people a long time to make decisions, don't get
Yeah.
discouraged by that, because that truly is sort of the norm now. And I think that goes to not the uncertainty of whether they have a need, but people have uncertainty about what's going to be happening in the wider world around them. So
Right.
they're, some are
Yeah.
like, we need this, but what's going to happen? Are we
Right.
reaching mass vaccination? Am I going back to the office? What's happening with the economy? And,
Right.
honestly, reports are saying, listen, the economy is about to boom. We're going to see some strange things happen as it booms, but
Right.
we're going to have a major wave of recovery. So I think this is the good news that we all need to hear
I
at this
agree.
point in this year, because we've been bombarded by a lot of things and a lot of challenges. But the takeaway today is we're all going to work, and we are going to have plenty of work.
And I think too, as you said, with companies taking longer to make decisions, I think that has, might be affecting our solo mindsets too, right? We
Yeah.
think, okay, we think we're almost on the other side of this, business wise. Sometimes we need to make a conscious mental shift into that brighter side. And my dog agrees. Sorry. And I think so just take a couple of minutes and just say, you know what? This is where we are. It is, April 2021. It looks like things are going to be
Yeah.
turning a corner. I know even as you might see news of different, you know, events, trade shows that aren't, nothing's going to come back full on, but things are starting to percolate.
Yeah.
And, we're not going to go through the rest of this year in a dormancy. So, we just encourage you, keep your eyes open, look for those opportunities. Don't be afraid to step into them. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, you don't get a response? So who cares? Maybe even start your own initiatives. Have you been thinking of, starting your own clubhouse room or, your own thought leadership? Do it. Do it. Solos are
I agree.
smart, they're savvy. You wouldn't still be here if you weren't. And that's whether you're in a house or out of house. We've had many wonderful solos who have made the transition. They'll go in house for a while, then they'll come out. And that's totally fine too.
And I think that when you do that as a thoughtful, best move for your career, because what I love about the times that we live in is that at one point in time, if you had your own business, you were quote unquote unhireable. No one would want to
Yes.
hire you because they felt like
Yeah.
you were too independent to be able to work again in a team environment. That is no longer true at all. And so people move in and out of being a solo based upon where they are in their lives and their careers and what their goals are. I think that's pretty cool to be able to have that choice of
Yeah.
no choices forever, whatever you decide to do in that moment, because sometimes it makes sense. Like you want to learn something else, or you have an opportunity to work in an environment that you're really passionate about with people that you believe will help you to grow in your professional capacity. And if you could do that, go for it, do it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about it. But do know that solo PR pros are among the smartest and the best of the PR profession.
Yeah.
And I dare anybody to fight me on it.
I'm not going to fight you. I won't do it.
Don't fight me on it.
No. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm with
And
you. I,
I mean, I see our community. I know our
yeah.
audience and I know who we are. We are the best of the best. And so
Yeah.
companies that hire a solo PR pro, they are getting so much more than they even expect.
Yeah.
You cannot find smarter people.
It's true. And we have to be conscientious because if not, we won't eat. It's interesting. Yeah.
Very true.
A couple of years ago, I was at a Philly PR Association event. We were just chatting amongst ourselves, and there was a woman who, had been in business for herself, and then she went in house, and the other person in the conversation said, "Oh wow, how'd that work?" And she said, "You know what they said to me? They said, 'You've worked for yourself. We know you're going to get it done.'"
Mm,
And I thought, that's good. Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
And honestly, the core existence of what I do doesn't matter what desk I was in whose office, it's still the same. I mean, that's you know, it's true every time I work with my graphic designer friend that I used to work with in Philly. It's the same work, except I'm not running upstairs in
Yeah.
this brownstone in Society Hill. I'm not running upstairs. We're emailing or we're Skyping between, Washington State and Pennsylvania. So, but it's the same work.
The
So
same work. Yeah.
I encourage companies to embrace that. If you're afraid of outsourcing, no, if we're coming with the goods, that's our reputation and credibility at stake. And to us, that is everything. That is all we have is that ability to get the job done for you. So we encourage
Absolutely
anyone
agree.
who's, looking for help in the communications world, consider a solo. We are worth it. And I agree, solos, they get it done.
I could not end this podcast on a better note than that. That should be our tagline because it's so very true. And I hope that, you all, our audience, will help spread the word that solos are here and we have bandwidth and availability, and, keep sharing those leads with one another. And if you are
Yes.
a company listening to us and you're looking for a great solo, utilize our website. We have a directory of solo PR pros, and you can look by specialty, by location, or if you know a solo specifically by name, you can look them up by name as well. But we are a great resource to find highly qualified people to get the job done.
Couldn't agree more. So we thank you once again for giving us part of your day. We hope you're getting something out of this time with us. Please share the podcast. We love that. Share the information. That's what we do, right? And tell your friends, have them check out soloprpro.com. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.